In today's video, I'd like to talk about some of the reasons of why people who are in their 50s and their 60s are completely burned out at work. And they would love to retire even though they don't have the financial means to do so. And I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. But first, if you're seeing me for the first time, I'm Ronnie. Thanks for stopping by. And to everyone who's watching the video today, please take 1 second to hit that thumbs up button that you'll find down below, because by doing so, it really helps the channel out, and I'll thank you in advance. So here are 6 reasons among many of why people in their 50s and their 60s are completely burned out from work and would love to retire, even though they may not have the financial means to do so. Number 1, you've already been working too long, or you've just worked long enough and you're done. Now, if you're a baby boomer or a Gen Xer, that means you probably started working when you were about 14 or 15 years old. And if you're now in your mid to upper 50s or early 60s, that means that you've been working for 40 or 45 years. And friend, when you work for 40 or 45 years or longer, that's long enough. No matter how you slice it or dice it, that's just long enough. Working virtually your entire life is just too much. It's just too much to do. Let me tell you a true story. About 2 days ago, I was in Walmart doing some shopping. It was early in the morning, probably around 9:30 or so. And I was there to beat the crowd. And I bumped into a friend of mine who works there. I say friend. It's just a man that I've known since I was in my 20s, and we've bumped into each other over the years, and we have a friendship on that basis. And I see him in Walmart from time to time and we'll chat. But on this particular day, it looked like the day was just getting started, because about 9:30 in the morning, I can tell you he looked completely wore out, exhausted, tired, fatigued, stressed, and defeated. When I first saw him, he was walking up the aisle and he was limping, which means something was happening in his physical body, probably just a result of getting older and standing on his feet all day long. And I can't tell you how defeated and discouraged he looked. And when I saw him, realizing that all of his vitality was gone, I just had such compassion on him in that moment. And it reminded me of a conversation that I had with him about 2 years ago. I had bumped into him about 2 years ago in the same place, and he was asking, and we had an extended conversation on that day, and he was asking me how my retirement life was going, and I was telling him how much I'm enjoying it and so forth and so on. And in that conversation, he told me that he would not be able to retire himself until he was at least 70 years old. And I had a flashback on that conversation and put it together with my encounter with him just a couple days ago. And in that moment, I knew that people are just burned out. And in that moment, I was so grateful that I've been able to retire myself and get out of that daily grind. At some point, you just get sick of working. At some point, you get sick of working and trading your time for nothing more than a paycheck. Even more, people are sick of having to work their entire lives just to make ends meet. You reach a certain age, and then you look at the remainder of your life and realize all the things that you have missed out on and all the things that you would still like to do. And then you realize that you've already worked long enough, or you have already worked too much. And this is a major cause of burnout. Number 2, exposure to long-term stress is another cause of burnout. Modern jobs are stressful. The schedules that we have to keep are stressful. We have deadlines and quotas, expectations. There's job insecurity, conflict, micromanagers, over supervision, shift work, ungodly hours in the night, poor training, and a lack of personal autonomy. And all of this stuff really starts stacking up on top of you over the years, and it takes its toll. Anyone can deal with short-term stress, right? I mean, you just power up and power your way through, and you come out the other end okay. But if you're dealing with stress for 4 or 5 decades, and it's really beginning to stack up on you, it can just really do a number on you. And I'm sure that many of you can relate to that. Number 3, another reason that people are experiencing burnout is too much of a workload. Overwork is a main cause of burnout. Number one, we might be assigned too much work or given long hours. Or we might volunteer for extra work because we believe that if we say no, it might be perceived as not showing initiative or failure to step up for the sake of the company, and we could be punished for it. Furthermore, if you're a good employee and you do all of your work efficiently and on time, guess what happens? You get rewarded with more work to take up the slack for all the lazy workers on the job. And by the way, working too many hours is a cause of death for millions of people every year simply because overworking leads to a very unhealthy lifestyle. And I think we know that too. Number four, another reason that people are burnt out at work is because there are toxic relationships at work, right? Toxic relationships or maybe a toxic environment. Now, sometimes we make good friends at work, and if we do, that can be a good thing, and it's wonderful if we make good friends at work. But on the other hand, work is mostly known for the toxic relationships that you'll find there. And there's nothing worse than toxic relationships at work because you have to face these people every single day. And you end up spending more time with them than you do with your own family. And this could be your coworkers, your managers, or even subordinates. And this toxic behavior could mean anything from gossiping to a lack of respect, micromanagement, competition, backstabbing, favoritism, or unfair treatment on the job. And I don't need to tell you that it takes a toll upon your state of mind. Number five, another reason or cause of burnout is a lack of work-life balance. Now, because of modern schedules and the modern work environment, we just don't have enough personal time. A typical work week in the United States is 40 hours a week. But many people, if not most people, work even more than that, 50 hours a week or more. You might have to work extra hours or weekends or late nights or overtime. This eats up your personal time. And whatever you have left over is exactly that. It's leftovers. And your personal life suffers, your marriage suffers, and your family life suffers. And in the middle of that kind of environment, corporate America will lead you to believe that you're all just one big family. But you know what? You're not. Your job in corporate America is not your family. They exist to make a profit. That's the sole purpose of their existence. And you work there to make a living. That's your only skin in the game. That's your skin in the game. You're there to make a living. You're not there because you're one big family. And we need to keep that in perspective because your job is not your family and they can dump you anytime that they choose. When we don't have a proper work-life balance and we don't have enough personal time for ourselves, it leads to burnout. And then number six, this is the sixth reason for today's talk, but it's only six among many. Another reason that leads to burnout is a lack of job security. In today's world, the economy, mass layoffs, corporate downsizing, restructuring, or a buyout from private equity firms are constant dangers to the workplace environment. You just don't know when you're going to be let go. And then you have these performance reviews, right, in which you're always graded in such a way that you have room for improvement, and we'd like to see you step it up. It's a terrible feeling not having job security, or knowing that no matter how much you do, it's never enough. And after a while, people just get sick of it all. Now, of course, if you're burned out, you already know it. But here are some of the most obvious symptoms of burnout. Number one, you have become critical or cynical at work. Number two, you're dragging yourself to work each day and have trouble getting started once you get there. Number three, you dread the daily commute because it raises your anxiety, your frustration, and your anger. Number 4, you are irritable and impatient with other people, and this could be your coworkers, your friends, your family members, or other people on the highway. And then number 5, you lack physical energy. You are just completely exhausted all the time. These are the obvious symptoms of burnout. Now, if you're experiencing these kind of symptoms, you're burned out. You're done. You've had enough. So what's a person to do? Well, more about that in a minute. But first, let me tell you another story. When I was in my 50s, I began experiencing burnout myself. And I mean, it was severe. All of those years of working, the stress, the deadlines, not having enough personal time, toxic people, it just all really began to stack up on me. And I mean, I almost had a complete breakdown. And in that season of my life, my mind, it just went to dark places, places I never want to go again. I had all the classic symptoms and more. But I want to tell you that when I retired, almost overnight, my life was transformed to just get away from it. And it was a healing process for me. And I've mentioned this before, my first year of retirement, I did a 1-year reset. But almost overnight, my life was completely transformed by getting out of the workplace environment. It was like being released from prison and being set free. And my only regret is that I didn't find a way to do it sooner. I suppose I could have done it sooner, but I just wasn't sure if I could or not. But I can tell you, these last 3 years that I've been retired, it has been some of the happiest years of my life. Stress-free living and fun-filled days. In fact, if I had known how inexpensive that retirement life really is, I would have pulled the trigger at 58, 59, or 60 years old and just found a way to make it work. The transformative effect of being retired and out of that toxic work environment and the toll that it had taken over me over the years, just the transformative effect of retiring would have been worth it, even if it meant changing career paths or taking a financial hit. So it was a big moment for me to retire. So back to the question, what's a person to do? If you can't retire, or right now, or maybe you'll never be able to retire, I'd like to suggest to you that you forget the word retirement for now and focus instead on changing jobs or creating a new career path for yourself so that you can create a new life for yourself. If your job is killing you, you need to find a way out. In contrast, a low-stress job or even a part-time job can be a lifesaver for you, and the quality of your life will simply go up exponentially. Even if you have to take a pay cut to do it, it's worth it. One way or another, start working on your escape plan. Whether you choose to stay at your current job because of financial necessity or whatever, or you choose to change jobs, start working on your escape plan. You can't stay there until you drop dead. And getting out of the work environment is not going to happen all by itself. You've just got to take matters into your own hands and figure out a way to do it one way or another. When I was working and I was experiencing all that stress and burnout, I used to have aspirations of traveling in my retirement life and just being on the road for weeks at a time and just seeing the great outdoors and just being on an open highway. But you know what? Now that I am retired, I'm just simply enjoying a much easier and simpler life. Now, for the most part, I just want to be closer to home. I want to spend time with my family, my garden, and my animals here on my homestead. I like cooking my own meals at home and working out in my own home gym. I enjoy sitting on the front porch in the morning and having my own coffee and watching the world go by. And as far as travel is concerned, we still do a little bit of travel, but for the most part, we prefer day trips or micro trips. which we might go 50 miles this way or 100 miles that way or 75 miles that way, or just visit a nearby small town and have lunch at a small country restaurant or something like that. You get the idea. Instead of taking these extensive road travels and sitting behind the wheel for 10 hours a day, we enjoy the micro trips. They're much more refreshing, simpler, easier, and a lot less expensive. I'm now living a simpler lifestyle, and it's a far cry from the pressure cooker that I used to be in. No matter how you choose to live the remainder of your life or how you choose to define your retirement, you need to do it for yourself. Nobody else is going to do it. So tell me what you think. Leave me a comment down below. Other people will actually read your comments and be encouraged. And by the way, let me encourage you to just read the comment section. There's gold to be found there. There really is. I just love it when people leave comments because hearing their stories is just so insightful for me. And if it's encouraging for me, I know that it's going to be encouraging for you. Well, I'm Ronnie. Take care, and we'll see you next time.